go. Here's the topic for tonight. You're going to be like, some of you are going to like it, and some of you are going to be like, I don't know if I want to talk about this. Okay. So here we go. We are going to talk about time management. Okay, I see some claps. I see some, not quite sure. Okay, all right. Oh, I need this. Okay, so we're going to talk about it, and we're going to really dive into this because right now it's summer. It's crazy. Some of you, yeah, okay, some of you guys are back to school, right? And you're kind of getting back in the swing of things. But if we don't get organized now and we don't learn how to manage our time now, before you know it, you get slammed with the holidays, and then you get slammed with Thanksgiving, and then Black Friday, and then all the entertaining and all the things, and your business is gone because you never learned how to manage your time. Okay, either you manage your time or your time manages you. Those are your two options. There's nothing in between. Okay, so the book that changed my routine forever years ago, right, is this book right here, The Miracle Morning of Network for Network Marketers. Okay, it literally changed my entire trajectory of my time. Okay, many of you guys know, right, what time does Chloe get up? Many of you guys know, right? You're like, oh my gosh, she's messaging me back at 5:30 in the morning. What the hell, right? But literally 6 years ago, I was on a training call, and we were discussing this book, and it says like, oh, get up early, get up early. And I was like, okay, so if I get up early Monday through Friday, I can sleep in on the weekends, right? And they're like, no, like eventually your body just gets used to it. And it is so true that whether you get up early, whether stay up late, whether you think you're not an early person, or whether you think you're not a late person, you can change all that. You're not who you think you are. You can change and control your thoughts. Just because you don't think you're a morning person, it's literally you telling yourself you're not a morning person. That's literally it. You are deciding that's who you are. Whether you can be whatever you want. I'm just telling you, right? Because some of you guys are like, I'm not a morning person. It's because you decide you're not a morning person. You can train yourself to be a morning person and get stuff done before everyone wakes up. Okay. But it is so true that if you read this book, that whether you get up early or whenever you get up, is the thought process is that you get up intentional. That you know that when you step with one foot out of your bed, you know exactly what you're doing when, okay? You're not letting your time control you. So the Miracle Morning, and you can actually watch a YouTube video, like if you don't want to read it, there's an audible version. Like I'm not saying you have to go read this book, but maybe watch some of this guy's videos, okay? And the Miracle Morning basically just says that you start each day with some kind of ritual, something, some kind of routine that sets you up for a successful day. Because whatever you decide as soon as you get up in the morning is going to determine the outcome of the rest of your day. Okay. So, I mean, you guys have done this, right? Like you wake up, you go to a coffee pot and you spill the coffee, or if you forget to put the cup in and you're already like, this is going to be one of those days, right? Have you ever said that? It's going to be one of those days. It feels like a Monday, right? It's because you decided that that's how your whole day is going to go. So if you want to change and you want to be successful, you have to start every day with a clear focus. Okay. And it takes about 21 days to create and form a new habit. 21 days. How many of you guys have been doing summer camp for 21 days? And now you feel like you're getting better at posting what's for dinner. You feel like you're getting better about learning about a new product, right? But the big but is we make it 21 days and then we're like, oh, I think I'm good. You can take a couple days off, right? But those critical moments happen in the 21 to 30 days. Those are the ones, the 21 to 30 days, when you work your new scheduling, when you work your new routine, where most people say, I've been doing good for 21 days. I can afford to take a break. Have you ever said that? I know I'm not alone, right? Whether it's dieting or whatever it is that we're doing, right? So it actually takes over 30 days for it to create a habit, and really takes more than 90 days for it to basically be like second nature. And I know if I challenge you to think about something that you did that now you do like it's in your sleep, what would it be? Maybe it's posting about your food. Maybe it's showing up on 212. Maybe you've done it so long that you're like, I know what it's like Wednesday. I know it's Wednesday. I mean, my 10-year-old knows what time it is on Wednesday. You know what I mean? What is something that you have done consistently that you're like, I can do it in my sleep? Power hour. Yeah, that's a good one, right? Taking pictures, videos of my food. Yeah, it just becomes second nature. It's like you can't even eat and take a bite of your food without taking a picture of it. Driving. Yeah, sometimes it's dangerous, right? Have you ever driven in your car and you're like, how did I get there? How am I home already? When did that happen? Right? Because you've just done it so much. Changing diapers. Yes. Okay. So here are some tips for in general, right? To really get you set up for success before we start talking about managing times. Number one, you have to accept all the things you cannot change. You need to stop getting frustrated about things that happened in the past or things that you wish you could change. And I wish I was like that. And I wish this host didn't cancel. And I wish Pampered Chef, the bento box was purple instead of green. Like, accept the things you cannot change. That is going to put you in that monk mindset of brain, calm, collective, because you can't change it. Okay. So you can watch him. He has a 2-hour thing on YouTube. It's like the Miracle Morning. And he talks about the 5-second rule, right? You guys know about that, or the 5-minute rule. Like if you have something to complain about, if you have something to feel upset about, no more than 5 minutes. Set a timer. Complain to your husband about it. Call your best friend. Complain to your director buddy. Whatever you do, take your 5 minutes, scream in a pillow, eat the chocolate, drink a glass of wine, whatever you need to do to cope with it, but no more than 5 minutes. And then we can't change it, so we don't even need to talk about it. Right? And that's number one. Number two, be grateful for what you have. Okay. Sometimes we get so lost in, I wish I had this and I wish I had that, that we forget to be grateful for what we have, for the opportunity that you have, for the life that you have, for the roof that you have over your house. Okay. And then number three is remember that it's all about daily progress, daily goals, daily baby steps, daily habits, daily progress. What am I doing today that is going to change me, that is going to change my family, that is going to change my business? Because at the end of the day, if you look at this quote, it says, you will never change your life until you change something you do daily. I'm going to say it again. You will never change your life until you change something you do daily. Put a 7 in the chat if that resonates with you. Right? Because you can go on a diet for 21 days and then you get back on off track, still didn't make one single change that you do every single day. Right? Maybe you, those that were in the booking bootcamp are now sending 30 messages a day consistently, right? You keep doing that consistently, it is going to change your life. Maybe you started working out or something, or maybe you start being a little conscious about your health, a little bit, right? But people tend to go cold turkey, all or nothing, and that is not sustainable. So change some small things every single day to help you change your life. Okay. And if you are, if you are reading the book, once you go read this book, I love what he says in here. And he basically, if I were to ask you right now, right, let's talk about your Pampered Chef business. How many appointments do you have in your calendar right now for your business for this week? Do you have calls on your calendar? Do you have parties on your calendar? Do you have follow-ups on your calendar? Do you have trainings you're attending? What about next week? How many appointments do you have in your calendar for that? What about the week after? Right? We talked a little bit about this on Booking Bootcamp, but we're going to dive a little bit deeper into this today, right? So maybe you have 0, maybe you have 1, maybe you have 4, maybe you have 25, right? But if you think about your local hairdresser, your local doctor, your local dentist, how do you think they could run a business with 2 appointments in their calendar for the business next week? They'd be out of business. Right? But somehow we expect to be able to run a successful business with 0 appointments on our calendar to help us work our business, or things that make us work our business. Right? with 0 appointments, 0 calls, 0 parties, 0 anything, you cannot stay in business, and your dentist can't either. All right. So let's talk about this little truth bomb. Where does the time go? But, you know, I don't have time. How many times have you heard that? I don't have time for that. And I want you to consciously, if you're taking notes, every time you tell yourself, I don't have time, I want you to say, it's not my priority. Ouch. Right? It's a little different, right? I don't have time for this. Turn it into, it's not my priority. And it's okay if it's not, right? Because we are talking about 50,000 things. But you need to learn to say, I don't have time for this because it's not my priority. Or it is my priority, so I need to make time for it. I need to find the time. Whatever that may be, okay? Could be beyond Pamper Chat. So if you look at a day, I can't change that. That's how it is. There's 24 hours in a day, right? So if we take that times 7, if you're taking notes, there's 160 hours in a total week for all of you. For Kathy, for Cindy, for Lorraine, for Allison, for me, we all have the same 168 hours, 160 hours a week, okay? So let's say you sleep 8 hours a day, which is probably not many of us, okay? I try. I still only sleep like 6.5 hours, okay? So let's say you magically, beautifully were a person that sleeps 8 hours a day, okay? If you are, kudos. That's what you should be striving for, okay? So let's say you sleep 56 hours for that week. And then you work, right? Most of Pamper Chef consultants, 70% of Pamper Chef consultants work full time. So you work another 40 hours a week, right? And let's give you 6 hours a day for yourself, to spend with your family, for recreation, right? For cooking dinner, all those things, driving around back and forth. Let's give you 6 hours. And many of you guys may already be like, 6 hours? How is that even possible? You know what I mean? So all those things, and somehow there's still 30 hours per week left. You have time to cook, clean, spend time with your family. You have time to work. You have time to sleep. And somehow there's still 30 hours. Is anybody shocked by that number? You're like sitting there with a calculator trying to make sure the math adds up right? So really, where does the time go? It's because we don't know what we're doing. We don't know what we're doing every hour, every 2 hours. So we waste so much time not doing what we want to do that we're just literally, I mean, you could lose an hour freaking on TikTok or on Facebook, right? I mean, how quickly can you lose an hour on social media? Or before you know it, you watch 3 episodes of your favorite show instead of 1. Right? Scrolling, yeah, scrolling is a big time waster, right? But at the end of the day, your time has to match your goals. Some of you guys are going to want to work your business 5 hours a week. Some of you guys want to work it. The average, if I give you an average, the average Pamper Chef consultant is looking for 8 to 10 hours a week. Side hustle. A couple $100 a month, 8 to 10 hours, right? Some of you guys might be looking for more. But also what happens is some of you guys may be saying, well, I'm different, right? But it's different for me. My circumstances are different, right? But you have the same 24 hours just like everyone else. So it really is up to you to take 100% responsibility for your life. It applies to your calendar. It applies to every day, every minute, how you spend it, because you decide to spend it on activities that you are choosing. Okay, we're all busy, all right? Nobody's just like has all the time in the world and nothing to do, right? But it's important to find a way, like the one quote always says, right? If you don't find a way, you'll find an excuse. So have you actually ever blocked out 160 hours in a week and looked at where your time goes? Right? But it does really start with taking responsibility for our actions and for our time. And whether you want to take this business to a six-figure income or whether you're here for $200, it doesn't matter. This understanding how time works and what you do with your time is going to help you in life in general. Okay. Or sometimes we say yes to a lot of things. We're like, yep, I want to be the PTO mom. And yes, I'm going to sign up for the field trip. And yes, I'm going to bake the cookies. And yes, I'm going to bring my husband lunch. And yes, I'm going to do this. And yes, I'm going to help here. And before you know it, you're like running around like crazy, right? So, who has never seen this? I've been only training on this for like 7 years since it changed my life. Okay. You do need to make a schedule, or at least you need to time block. I understand that those of you with little children that are like opening every cabinet and are uncontrollable every 5 minutes cannot make a schedule. Okay. For those of you that don't remember, I started this business when I was 6 months pregnant. I've been through the toddler years. My kids were 2 years apart. I had a 1-year-old and a 3-year-old, and a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old. I know what it's like. You cannot make a schedule. Okay. All right. So, but you can time block. You can decide these are the things I want to get done, and I will check them off. So this, making a schedule like this has changed my life. And anybody that I've ever coached that started adapting this, it also helped them the same way. So you can go on, or I'll put the link in the chat so you can save it if you want this one exactly. If not, you can go to Google Images and just type in weekly schedule, or you can craft one yourself or whatever you want. Okay. And you want a time block. You want to put everything out there. Red work. If you work full time, that needs to be red. You're blocking it off 9 to 5, whatever your times are, you're blocking that off at work. So you know you're not available that time. Pink is for you. It's important, especially for women. I'm just going to say that we tend to forget ourselves, right? We're a mom, we're a spouse, we work full time. We forget to do something for us. That I challenge you to give yourself at least 15 minutes a day for me time. Or maybe you go to the gym, or maybe you go get your nails done once a week, or maybe you go have coffee with your girlfriends, or maybe you have lunch with them, or whatever. Maybe Friday night is Thursday, Fridays with your girls. I don't know, right? But it's important that you have something that's just for you. The gym is that for me. That's like my meditation. Okay. I don't meditate, but the gym for me is my meditation. It's the only place I'm not in that moment. I don't think about being a wife. I don't think about being a mom, and I don't think about being a pay per check consultant. Okay. So you need to figure that out. I don't care if it's you sitting in, maybe it's a book club. Maybe you read in a corner with a blanket and your coffee, and that's your 15 minutes of just being with you. Yellow is family. Okay. What do? You cook dinner. Maybe your kids have sports. Maybe you and your husband go on date nights on Thursdays, and you block off anything that has to do with family. And then you look at the white space and you say, okay, so where does Pamper Chef fit in? And I like to make Pamper Chef green, because when I think green, I think money. Right? When am I going to make my money? When am I going to make my side hustle money? Right? So then you want to block it off. So you could do that on paper, or you could do it on a Google Calendar. Okay. So this is kind of like a little, what is a day in the life of Claudia Bazaar looks like? That's what it looks like. Okay. So you can kind of look at that. You can, time block it on a Google Calendar. If you want some more training on Google Calendar, let me know. We can definitely do that as well. I like to actually have both. I need to color code it first, and then I can duplicate it in a calendar. So once you have your time block for your Pamper Chef business, again, this is going to be a habit. It's going to be hard to stick to it, and you'll fall off. And then you say, okay, today I'm trying again. Right now I can try again. Right now I can try again. Not next week. Right now. What can I do about it right now? Right? So then once you have your time blocked off from Pamper Chef, then you build your daily task list, or like we like to call it, our DMOs, our daily method of operation. Once we know when we work, many of you guys go backwards, right? You're like, I booked 5 parties, but you don't even know when you have time to run those 5 parties, because you just joined Pamper Chef and all of a sudden you have this extra work that never happened before in your life. And now you're trying to add that on, but you haven't really created a habit of adding on a Pamper Chef business yet. And then we get burned out because things are falling around and falling off, and we don't have a successful business. Okay. So the most basic level of this business is literally level 1. You run one virtual party per week. You do your host coaching, which means you talk to your host, you set up your parties, you close your parties, you check into your parties, you talk to your guests, you send booking messages, you send follow-ups. Maybe you do a little bit of social media, nothing too crazy, and you show up to 212. I put that in there because you must be on 212 no matter what, okay? And then from there, you can scale it, right? Then you can say, okay, so it takes me 45 minutes a day to do level 1. Let me scale it to 2 virtual parties a week. Let me scale it to 3 virtual parties a week. Oh, you know what? I could skip watching Netflix and I can scale it to 5 parties a week, right? But you have to start at the foundational level. Now, if you go to Dash, somebody just talked about Dash, right? Dash is now completely unlocked. It is literally like a giant search library. You go to Dash and you type in time block, this comes up. So if you don't know how long it takes you to set up one party, I challenge you to block it and see. So you can actually see how long it takes you. Because sometimes when we time ourselves, somehow magically, we're a lot faster than when we don't, right? And you can use that time blocking sheet to kind of evaluate your time first too. So some other tips I want to give you tonight is, again, set the time limit. But the other thing too is eliminate. If you're feeling overwhelmed and you're doing too many things, I challenge you to kind of think about, what can I get rid of? What am I doing that's not bringing me joy? What am I doing that's really unnecessary? What have I signed up for that I really don't enjoy anymore, right? What is taking my time that I can get rid of? And it could even be something like, for those busy moms out there, that maybe one night a week you don't cook dinner and you work and your family figures out dinner and they figure out what to eat. They may not be eating as healthy as you want them to, or maybe making a mess, but maybe it's an experience that they can have, right? Maybe your kids are old enough to start learning how to do chores and you can eliminate some of the house chores and give them and teach them to your children, right? Those are just some ideas to help you save time. Maybe there's some things you can delegate. Maybe there's some things you are doing that, but maybe you can pass them on to someone and delegate them out. It doesn't always have to be you. So when I say eliminate or delegate, does anything come to mind? Put it in the chat. Anything kind of just sparks at the top of your brain? And the last thing, ask for help. Okay. Many of you guys are like, there is a personality, right? I know it's a personality type that does not like to ask for help, me included, right? We're like, I got this. I can do it all. I can be mom. I can be super mom. I can make dinner. I can do this. And then you exhaust yourself, right? So don't be afraid to ask for help. Within your family, within your 4 walls, outside of your walls. Maybe you, when I had little kids, I would trade like babysitting. I'd be like, hey, you know what? Why don't you keep my 2-year-old and my 4-year-old and they hang out at your house and they play with your kids and I get 2 hours to myself. And then next week I take them. So all the kids were happy and mommy got a break, right? Maybe there's something you can do to ask for help. Maybe you can ask your family to pitch in, to help with the dishes. I see dishes, right? To help with the laundry. Trust me, I never thought my kids could do laundry. I never thought they could do it because it was like they threw a fit, crying. I don't know how to hang something on a t-shirt. And now literally they do their laundry like that. People are always amazed. Do your kids do your own laundry? They put them away. Yes, they do. Does it look perfect in the closet? No. But can I live with it? I can. You know what I mean? And the other big thing is that make sure that when you do your schedule, there is some white space. You can't block out every single minute of your life. There is times where you just want to go outside and have a cup of coffee. There is times where the doorbell rings. There is times where something happens. So if you schedule every minute, you are going to exhaust yourself. Okay? So build in some white space. And then you can be like, oh my God, I have extra time. I'm going to do some more booking messages. Or, oh my God, I have extra time. I'm going to run the kids and go get ice cream with them. Oh my God, I have some time. You know what? Let me run over to my parents and visit them. Whatever, right? You have a little bit of breathing space. And the big one, Learn to say no. I know it's really hard, okay? It is really hard to learn to say no, but you do need to learn to say no. You need to learn to say no, thank you, just like your customers tell you no, thank you, because they don't have time, because you can't keep adding things onto your calendar and then still expecting the same results. Okay? So my homework for you tonight is, again, this takes time, but if you don't never start and you're like, I wish I was more organized. How many of you guys say that? I wish I was more organized, right? I'm with you. I'm not the most organized person, but I am a really good disciplined person with my time. There's not much that shakes me. And as soon as, and if I don't have a schedule, like if there's any major changes, like when we were moving or when my husband would be deployed, or anytime I have to do a major schedule overhaul, it freezes me for weeks until I figure out how I want it to work. So would love to hear it. We